And it is always important that you keep your comments coming in. And many of you have been bringing your comments a lot more, especially as we're speaking on the subject of agriculture. He said, my boss, I wish all Farmers Day in Ghana. Happy Farmers Day from Leo in Kukrantumi. Leo, I'm not your boss. So. All right. Good morning to Dr. Abiu. Please, it's not a request show. We say please comment on the issues we're looking at, especially today is Farmers Day, and so please make sure your messages are targeted towards that. He says, an all working staff of Kratchi West District Hospital for their hard work, from Eric Bobie Kratchi. I'll read it for you because you're an ardent viewer of the show. And good morning, Roland and Mamavi. Where are the politicians? They need to help this poor girl. Oh, we're talking about Jemima. I'm sure they've heard you. Esiedu Nketia and Kweku Anyidoho cannot be remoting our headquarters like their homes. We shall resist them by their conduct. Are equal to all our hard-working farmers. God bless them. And that's from Bright, who is giving us this very message from Brewaniase in the Nkwanta South District. Good morning. Thanks to all farmers in the country, from Ian Tete in Bergro. And we also have this one from Adams Abu from Sunyani. Okay, you gave us that earlier message about Jemima and how the politicians rather need to be helping them. And this one is a long one. This is from Samuel from Wale Wale, and a university graduate. You say you are disabled, but you need a lot more help. And that Ghana is not fair to people living with disabilities. I agree with you. We need to do a lot more to assist people living with disabilities. I agree with you. Michael from Nkenkaso. Now, the NDC knows there's prudence in suspending aspirants and members who go overboard in their respective parties. We are all watching. We will speak in 2016, almost like a warning to the NDC, I believe. Mahama is killing our farmers, and that's from Shamuna from Wologo. And okay, this one, the last one, it says Merry Xmas. We haven't gotten it yet, so that'll be. But let's look at what the stories are on the news portal majoronline.com, and then we'll look at some other more stories on the other news portal as well. And so we'll have to start literary discourse, knowledge above certificate. This man is always writing his opinion there, so if you want to look at it, you have to go to the opinion pages of majoronline.com, and you get to see a lot more as well. But let's go to the other stories. NDC acts to disqualify Zaneto Rollins, and we know that issue is being taken up by lawyer Gary Nimaku and his chamber, already addressing or petitioning the Electoral Commission to verify whether she is a voter in the voters register. Photos: a jolly ride in serious rain. Some motor riders in Accra were happy to drive on the road during the early hours of Thursday's rain. This may be passed, but it just talks about the consequences of just some few hours of rain, which seriously result in some disruptions. Kwabena Japan faces possible suspension, and it talks about embattled General Secretary of the New Patriotic Party, Kwabena Japan, had to recall and apologize to the party's disciplinary committee following a petition and a possible suspension against him. And I know that for such news, you always have to consult Kwacha Afreniam. I'll give you his number right now. You keep calling him, especially when there are issues on politics. He'll give you a lot more as far as politics in Ghana is. And we have Mahama arrives in SA for China-Africa Cooperation Summit. We know that we're being told, according to what the news is in international media, that China is going to give a lot more money to African countries. But this is where the drift is. It's all about the scramble for Africa's resources, and many pundits and anti-imperialists and pan-Africanists have written many pieces or opinions on this very diplomatic move by China, currently wading into our territory, so to speak. Enhancing food security in Ghana using PICS bags. I'm sure about recycling. Next one, South Africa High Commission rejects non-biometric passport. I think that's in order. In many embassies or high commissions around the world, and even indeed in many international airports across the world, you will not have non-biometric passport going through. And so I think it's just in order. It's not as if it's a crime. Then story of Jesus Christ that all must hear. Again, an opinion. But let's go up and see some of the stories. Adekoka and Co. have no power to suspend Sam George and Namwale. Say Namwale. Yes, Namwale. And the Kwame Japan faces possible suspension. But we have Sam George. Namwale's election victories are annulled. But we know that has also been challenged. And we have this one too. So those are mainly the stories we have. Speaker Dua Jaho violated 1992 constitution, refusing to swear in as president, and that's a decision by the Supreme Court. I guess we know a lot more of these stories. Let's go to City FM online. Ghana's Eurobonds so far, infographic. Let's look at the story. It will make interesting citing or perusal to see what really the story is about. It talks about, you go up a little. Okay, a Eurobond is a bond denominated in currency not native to the issuers. And talking about just Ghana has in the last 8 years issued 4 Eurobonds, generating a total of $3.75 billion. And there's a graph. Go up. Okay, relax. Go down. President Kufuor, 2007, we took a Eurobond. Go up. 750. Duration 10 years. Yield on bond is 8.5. 2013, we took another sum, 1 billion. 2014, 1 billion, and the yields on 7.87 on the 2013 one, and this year's that's the 2014 one 8.12%, but it's the 2015 one that's a lot more headache for many people. It's $1 billion, but same, the yield over a 15-year period is 10.75%. Huge for many people. And so you just go to a website of City FM Online and you get a lot more perspective on this very subject. I think that it's good for the education for many of us who don't tend to know the ins and outs as far as business and related economic matters are concerned. We're looking at the story. Speaker broke law on presidential oath. MPP to announce disciplinary action on Japan and Crab. And we have a high interest rate cause of unemployment, and that's according to an analyst. Let's look at the story as well. And an investment analyst, Kwame Oforia Sumenin, is the one who the story has been sourced to. And he says the high interest rate regime is partly to blame for the high employment rates in the country. It just means that companies need to cut costs, because if you're cutting costs, it means you're rationalizing your overheads. And so it means that you have to reduce the number of overheads you have on perhaps how much you pay employees, etc., and your normal production costs, so to speak. As a result of that, your whole objective is to make sure you make profit. If you want to make profit at the end of the financial year, it means that you have to multitask a lot more your human resource. And that will mean that you either reduce what you already have, or you don't even take a lot more workers. It makes a lot of sense for businesses, because that's the way to go. Businesses are there to grow. And as a result of that, Mr. Sumenin is saying it has a link to unemployment. The high rates we have as far as borrowing from the banks are. And Mr. Asumeni in an interview said there's a need for a reduction in interest rate to stimulate economic growth. According to him, most Ghanaians have been compelled to invest in treasury bills rather than creating more jobs for the unemployed because of high interest rates. And that's true. So you get to find that there are a lot more financial instruments being sold in many of the banks, because it's a lot more profitable for the banks to trade in those instruments for their customers, or would-be customers. And as a result of that, people are not pushing in cash in various sectors of the economy. There's not a lot more cash being moved around for retail and other commerce activities. That's great. So a lot more education here for you as well. Website of City FM, great education. You go to the Africa page of the BBC, and you get to find out Oscar Pistorius guilty of murder. This story, and we look at the story in detail. The gentleman, well, he was first said to have, according to what the pronouncement of the court was, to have caused manslaughter. And so he went in after some time. There was an appeal, but apparently it just didn't go well as far as the appeal is, because the Olympic athlete Oscar Pistorius has been found guilty of murder after a South African appeals court overturned an earlier manslaughter verdict. Okay, and Pistorius killed his girlfriend Riva Stinkham in February 2013 after shooting 4 times through a locked toilet door. The two of them were inside the building at the time. He's currently under house arrest after spending 1 year of his original 5-year sentence in all. Pistorius will have to return to court to be resentenced for murder. Pistorius, a 6-time Paralympic gold medalist whose legs were amputated below the knee as a baby, made history by becoming the first amputee sprinter to compete at the Olympics back in 2012, running on the prosthetic blades. And we know that even prior to that very race, there were concerns being raised by normal athletes who were not physically challenged that they were afraid his protectors could propel him faster. That's not related. He's not Robocop, I guess. But the point is, he has to go back. And we're told that according to what the punitive sentences will be, the minimum sentence for murder in South Africa, according to its laws, is 15 years. And the judges are, however, expected to apply some discretion as well. We know his physical state and the way he is, and so they'll put a lot more perspective on that. So we have to go back. Okay, and so there were tears all over. But let's go up. Hippo kills 3 in South Africa. The hippos, when they kill the people, they go scot-free. But if you kill the hippo, you could be jailed for killing the hippo. That's it, because if you consistently kill them, they become extinct. I mean, that's the more reason why. Nigeria reduces 5.2 billion MTN. And let's look at the story before Benedict also comes in with a lot more sports. And this very story, Nigeria reduces 5.2 billion. And we know that the Communication Authority of Nigeria had charged MTN for violating its own terms in terms of the registration of customers. And so a fine of some $5.2 billion was imposed on them, which equivalent is some 3.4 billion pounds. And Nigeria wants mobile phone companies to verify the identity of their customers. And the government says it is concerned unregistered SIM cards are being used by criminal gangs. And the South African company has been in talks with authorities since October when the original fine was imposed. And again, we're talking about $5.2 billion US. And it said on Thursday it had succeeded in reducing the fine by 1/3. That's over, still over $1 billion. And the original fine amounted to double MTN's annual profit last year. Since it was imposed by the Nigerian Communications Commission, MTN has made a number of senior managerial changes, which included the resignation of the chief executive of its Nigerian unit, Sifiso Dabengwa. After further engagement with the Nigerian authorities, the NCC has reduced the imposed fine. And MTN, we know, according to the overall history of the company, has 231 million subscribers in 22 countries across Africa, Asia, and the Middle East, and Ghana is included. However, Nigeria is its biggest market because Nigeria has a population of over 200. So what do you expect? And in September, the company was named as the most admired brand in Africa in the Brand Africa 100 awards, beating Samsung, while it was also awarded the continent's most valuable brand worth some $4.6 billion. That's the worth of the brand alone. Its assets and things have income. Wow. MTN was South Africa's second mobile operator when it was set up in 1994 after the end of apartheid. It began its expansion across Africa 4 years later with operations in Rwanda, Uganda, and Swaziland, and now they're in almost everywhere across the continent. Well, that'll be it for the news. We'll have a lot more sports for you because Benedict also will be here to bring you the latest updates in sports. We're taking a break. When we come back, we'll have a lot more for you. But please remember, it is Farmers Day edition of the AM show, and we want many of you to still keep your messages coming in. And we have a couple of them. Okay, please don't be calling. You are calling now. Don't be calling. All right. And we'll read a couple of your messages. And you say, I salute all gallant farmers. However, what is government doing about the school feeding program? It's a worry you have. And Samik Crab, and you spelled his name like a crab, please. It's C-R-A-B-B-E. That's Crab. Samik Crab has to be suspended because he's arrogant and academic illiterate. on the NEC and the Council of Elders from ABS. Well, we have a lot more of your comments also on the Farmers Day, and we say thank you very much for those comments. Please keep them streaming in. We're taking a break. When we come back, Benedict also will be here with a lot more smalls.